Implausible Nature now has dice. That's right, you can get these awesome D6s made by our partner, Baron of Dice. These custom dice have the Implausible Nature logo on the sixth side and also come with square corners, which means they will roll more evenly than rounded corner dice. Head on over to baronofdice.com and use discount code IN40K to get a discount on your order and support us at the same time. Check out his full collection of dice for all your gaming needs with the link down in the description.
Welcome to Implausible Nature, your home for all things Black Templar. On today's video, we have for you the first ever Bob versus Alex grudge match. So if you saw our previous video, Bob and I did our deployment for this game, and now we're going to bring you the battle report for our Black Templar versus Drukhari 2,000 point game. So as a reminder, we'll just quickly go over our mission rules. We are using, as you can see, the Crucible of Battle deployment. We are using the Terraform primary mission and Stalwarts mission rules. This is actually, if you look in GW's recommended missions, this is mission O. It's the 15th mission down the list. So we are all deployed. We are ready to roll for first turn here, and let's get started. All right, so there we have it. Bob rolls a 2, and I rolled a 5. So I'll be going first. You know, I don't really wanted to go first in this. I was really kind of hoping Bob would go first, so he'd peek out there. But we are gonna get into this first movement phase, and we'll get going here.
Make sure you declare your vow.
Yes, so I'm going to be taking accept any challenge, no matter the odds. I know, shocking that we are not taking uphold in this, but I've taken Sigismund's Seal, and I think that I really want the extra damage output to make sure that all of my units can really threaten all of his units. So that's why I've chosen that. Alright guys, so as you can see, I drew Overwhelming Force and No Prisoners as my two secondary missions, both of which are terrible for having first turn in this game. So I'm probably not going to really achieve either of those. I'm going to end up probably discarding at least one. But we are done with the movement phase here. So starting over here, I scouted my scouts who were up here back, and then moved them back a little further to make sure they are behind these ruins. I moved my assault intercessors with jump packs up to be in this ruin ready to strike. I've got my Helbricht Crusader squad here. They advanced, going a speedy 6 inches on their advance to move up the board and try to get in position. My infiltrators are arrayed to help prevent any sneaky deep striking in my backfield. My second assault intercessor squad moved up to behind this building here so that they are protected from fire via this ruin. My other scout squad also made a hasty retreat because in this mission, Terraform takes not only your whole turn, but your opponent's whole turn too. And they are not going to survive a whole turn sitting on an objective. So instead, we are going to move this Crusader squad up here. They also advanced, moving 5 inches. I selected this Venom right here with Incubi. I didn't really have a good target for Oath of Moment, so I selected this one right here, being that it's the closest, and it has a melee unit, and it's probably going to be the one that's going to come over here and try to attack me. So so that is my movement phase. Let's move on to shooting. All right, guys. So I didn't really have any shooting because, you know, as you can see, not much in range. I got a lot of bolt pistols, and my only big gun is off the board. So yeah, with not much shooting, that means I'm also not in range of charging anything. So that is my turn, and now we are going to move into Bob's command phase.
Yeah. All right, so as you can see on my side of the board, I have an array of highly protected transports that I was hoping I was going to get the second turn so that I have a little bit more play. He is a little bit more loaded on my left flank, but from his perspective, it's his right flank because you're going to be watching the video from that angle.
I rotated it.
So I am going to be looking at taking advantage of his advance. He does need to be aggressive playing against the Drukhari. He needs to take me out of my transports because that's where Sky Splinter is most effective, coming out of them and uh, doing damage. So that's the biggest key for him is getting close, making it so that I can't continue to move away and take me out of those transports. So once I'm out permanently, it's really tough for me to continue on. So that's his main game plan. Um, he's gonna have to take an Alpha Strike. That's just what it's gonna be.
Yep.
But let's see what
I am going to try to mitigate that Alpha Strike by I utilized Grimaldus's 5-up Feel No Pain for his Servitor ability, and I also spent a CP on Fervent Acclamation for Helbricht and friends over here to give them the Uphold the Honor, so they also have 6-up Feel No Pain. So that's my goal, to try to help weather the Alpha Strike, is rely on my Feel No Pain, and depending on what comes at me, maybe an Armor of Contempt or something.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so my secondaries are going to be.
All right, so Bob also drew no prisoners, and as well as Area Denial. So those are good cards for his first turn.
Yeah, absolutely. Area of Denial is going to be an easy 5 points for me on this turn. But let's see if we can take him off of one of his objectives. All right, so as you can see here, I advanced up the board a little bit here. So Alex has got a pretty hefty unit here. I chose to not be as aggressive and to play my cards a little bit closer to the vest. So my Warlord Incubi Venom is parked inside of the ruins, just temporarily. So that way he can't just walk through the ruins and get to me and get an easy charge. He'd have to actually wrap his way around to be able to get to me because he's not able to charge into. I'm right up to the edge there. So that's going to stall him. He's not going to be able to get into that 1 inch. So the other things I moved towards the center of the board because I want to make sure that I get my first secondary. The Raider popped up, moved forward to be advancing forward. I left my Cabalites here after the command phase. They stickied. And then I moved the side Cabalites over here because we want to make sure that we are denying as much of a bubble around my board as possible. So basically what that's going to do is force him to deep strike his Terminators into this very corner, which is well away from any objectives if he wants to come at me on this side. Plus, if he throws a Terminator at me, they can have the Cabalite Warriors and my Mandrakes. I did advance up to take this objective as well. I'm on the center here. So right now I'm on 3 objectives versus Alex's 2. Then I'm going to move into my movement or my shooting phase now that I have my Venoms well within some shot. All right, so on this turn, as I mentioned, my movement phase, I did not get out. I did not assault because I'm being a little bit conservative on this turn because I don't want to engage too fast and just totally waste units. I want to set up for a turn 2 slobber knocker. So that means I just let loose on all of my shooting. So unfortunately, I didn't take as much out as possible as I wanted to. I did kind of devote half and half to the big squads. So basically, this half of the board, well, like with this one exception, I shot across the board because I didn't have a shot into this blob over here. But I think I only killed two
One.
guys off of this one.
I think it was one.
One.
One off of this one, yeah.
And then
And
three
then
off of this one.
three, four.
Four off
Four
that
off
one.
of this one,
Okay,
yeah.
so, I mean, not much damage, but it's a setup turn on the first one. So
Honestly, that
now,
went a lot better for me than I would have hoped. I did pop Armor of Contempt on these guys because they were mostly out in the open. So that helped me there. And then these guys had cover because the squad is just so big. You have to be able to be fully seen, and there's just like almost no way for them to not get cover. So they were able to roll on their normal saves, which helped a lot. This squad over here probably would have taken a lot more damage, but I rolled, I think it was 5 saves, Bob, on 5 3-ups in one go. So that definitely helped out quite a bit.
yeah, that was definitely a good one.
Yep.
All right, so I am not going to be doing any charging here. So we are just going to skip through that to the end of my turn. And I will score Area of Denial full points because I have one or more units within the center of the battlefield.
Yep. And
And
within 6.
no.
Yep.
Yep, so I get the full 5 points.
All right. And at the end of your turn, I am going to yoink my scouts. All right, guys. So in my command phase, I once again gave Grimaldus' squad the 5-up Feel No Pain. I did contemplate giving them the Advance and Charge to try to wrap all 3 of these Venoms here. However, I decided against that, mainly because getting to this first one is only a 6-inch charge. They do have rerolls because they're a Crusader squad. The other reason is this Venom hiding behind the building here has Incubi in it, and this Raider has Witches in it. So I did not want to not have the benefit of Feel No Pain against those nasty melee threats, which I'm sure will assault me after I take out 1 or 2 of these Venoms here. So I should still be able to consolidate into both of these and hopefully take out both of them in there, maybe consolidate into their troops to prevent any shooting against me. Yeah, I'm going to get assaulted next turn, so with some nasty stuff. So having a Feel No Pain, definitely good. Probably have a pocket CP for the Fight on Death strat. The name is escaping me right now. Helbrecht over here, I also spent a CP on him to give them for an acclamation for the Feel No Pain again. Same reasons as last turn. And they rolled another 6. So this is the fastest moving Crusader squad in history. They've moved 24 inches in 2 turns. So and they didn't even need Devout Push to do it. So so yeah, and
You're
then
gonna roll once the rest of the game.
well, fortunately, that squad can re-roll them. So as long as they're the ones that roll the ones, I can re-roll it. And then sneaking over in here is my Intercessor squad. I am going to try to terraform this objective with them. And then I have this Intercessor squad over here. They are hopefully going to put some hurt on these dudes over here. And then lastly, I deep striked my Assault Intercessors Jump Pack Reserve squad over here. I'm not expecting to make this charge. That should be 9 inches for them. So, but that being said, I can maybe plink some off with some bolt pistol shots and some plasma pistol shots. If I do happen to get lucky and make a charge, that will be very helpful in clearing this side of the board so I can get my Terminators and my Vindicator in over here. So yeah, that's it for my movement phase. Let's move on to some shooting. All right, guys. So a shooting phase was had for the Black Templars. I shot a whole lot of bolt pistols over here into this Venom and did 1 wound. Interestingly enough, it was, of course, the Neophyte bolt pistol that did the damage. Over here, I lost a guy to overcharging plasma, but I did manage to plink 2 wounds off this Venom and kill a couple of Mandrakes. And then over here, I killed 3 Cabalites. So, you know, given given what I have on the board, I think that was a pretty decently successful shooting phase. So yeah, we're gonna move on to charges, and then assault, and we'll recap that in just a second. All right, so after the charge phase, the Crusaders had a big charge over here. As did the intercessors over here. In the center of the board, the Crusaders destroyed a venom. They put some wounds on each of these two venoms, and now are in firm control of the center of the board there. So it's going to get hairy, though, next turn. There's a lot of scary melee things that are going to be coming at me. So fortunately, I've got Helbert and friends right here to support them. So we'll have to see how that turn goes. Over here, I killed both the venom and the mandrakes. Bob was unlucky with his disembark rolls on the destroyed transports. He lost a Kabbalite over here and two over here. And unfortunately, these guys got left out of the fun. They did not make their charge into those Kabbalites there. But yeah, overall, pretty good fight phase for the Templars. And now we're going to move on to the bottom of turn 2.
All right, so for my command phase and my movement, bottom of 2, I drew containment. So I played and moved with that in mind. So I did drop out a couple of things here. I have an Incubi squad that are going to get in the fray. We have my Kabbalites that dropped out. And then I have a Witch squad that moved with the Raider, jumped out, used Pounce on the Prey. So they are able to charge after moving.
I'm scared.
I had a Colonels come in. They don't hit quite as hard as the Incubi, but Lilith is there.
So yeah, she's nasty.
Guys. The Colonels came in to make sure that I was in range of the Incubi and the Witches, because I intend to use pain tokens on both of those squads to make sure that they are getting their rerolls to hit. And then with the Archon, you're going to get rerolls to wound as well. And then because they jumped out, they're also going to get Lance and an additional AP. So this guy moved around to the edge to get some shots on here. So he is within full of 9 inches of a board edge, as well as my picky-uppy mandrakes who are in there. They're going to be cheeky to try and stay on the side, and then pick them up.
Cheeky mandrakes.
Still there. Yep. It's unfortunate that I lost the other one because I was hoping to keep those going. I fell back with the Kabbalite squads that were over here into cover so that they at least have some options. These guys moved forward. We're just going to kind of see where it is. I don't think that I'm going to be able to kill off all of this stuff on this squad, but we shall see. Okay, so after some movement and shooting,
board looks a little emptier now.
I was able to eliminate this squad over here, which was annoying. I had to scrounge to get the final shots a little bit more durable than I wanted to. This guy, unfortunately, they lived, but I didn't have as many shots to put into them, so killing 3 was decent.
Yeah, you had to dedicate the Raider into that one.
This one was the really annoying.
I made some saves over here.
Yeah. So he lived, so that's going to force me to have to charge in with
tanks,
my vehicles to try and kill that guy. But with that being said, I did eliminate a guy
one full
squad.
And
one full squad, and I'm hopefully going to be able to kill another one over here with some charges as well. We shall see.
Yep.
So we're going to move into the charge phase.
All
right. So that was an eventful combat phase.
That was crazy. It was
in
crazy.
the fact that Alex rolled insane.
Look how
On
many
his
guys are still
stupid
alive.
server bites.
Look how many guys are still alive. It's like
So
half the
so
squad
note
almost.
so note that I do have Power Pained Archon with Incubi,
Mm-hmm.
and then I did have Lilith jumping out with witches,
Yep.
and I had some Cabalites and the Venom in this mess. So I started with the Incubi because I wanted to make sure that we did as much damage as possible to them, and on average, you're going to kill about 9 dudes. Well, he started
Well,
tanking all of his wounds because I out of the 15 attacks on just the Incubi because I had to do it in different stages, and he did vicious riposte
yep.
to make sure he fought on death.
Yep.
So I did my Incubi first because I wanted to kill as many as possible before getting the rebuttal because my witches are very fragile. So he started putting them on the servitors, and I wounded my weapons all the way 11 of the 15. So he saved 8, at least 8. I think it was 9, but I can't remember. Conservatively 8 of
Something
the
like that.
11
It was crazy.
on the servitors.
On the servitors, yeah.
And I'm like, and then he did a couple of Feel No Pains on top of that.
And they saved their Feel No Pains. So
I was like,
yeah. 2
that whole
servitors
charge was
tanked like
worthless.
at least like 8 saves on their invul save. That's why it's important, guys, to tank saves like that on your Cenobites first, because that 4-up invul can save your behind. So yeah, then he used the challenge, the heroic challenge, and killed Grimaldus. After that, I did lose some more guys. I lost about I don't know how many, but only four dudes fought on death. A power fist guy, like two or three chainsword guys, and the power sword, the sword bro. Well, those 4 dudes managed to wipe the entire witches squad. So, so, and then I killed the neophytes over here, killed the incubi, and the power fist guys. The last 2 power fist guys, there's only 1 left now. Killed the venom. So, the crackbacks were in force, and the emperor protected for sure. It was kind of crazy. So, completely overshadowed by that. I did lose my guy over here. And over here,
the other,
not much happened over here. I did a couple damage to it, but that was about it.
Yeah. So he also lost the one over here, but you saw that.
That was for shooting.
So I did score the 5 points on taking up prisoners, and then due to containment, I had my Kronos and my Night Fiends over here that locked that up. So I scored max on my secondaries this turn.
End of round 2. Here we are. So we're moving now into the top of 3. All right. So we are finished with the top of turn 3 command and movement phase. Command phase wasn't a whole lot to do this time. I did select this Ravager over here that you see highlighted as my Oath of Moment target. And in my movement phase, Helbrecht and company moved up into the center of the board here to get some help for these very battle-weary neophytes and these intercessor sergeants. There is still a squad of incubi in this venom, so I want to make sure that I can push back on this side and help out over on that side of the board. Over on this side of the board, I have deep struck my Terminators in here, brought my Vindicator in from reserves, as well as brought my Scouts back in from reserves. They are going to be doing containment for me. And then same thing with these Scouts over here. They're hanging out over here. They're going to help me out with some points. And yeah, so that is my movement phase. let's move on to shooting. All right, so shooting phase is done, and while this army doesn't have very much exciting shooting, some things happened. So over here, the Vindicator more or less whiffed and failed to kill the Ravager. Now, to be fair, Bob did spend a CP on his Night Shroud to make it a 4-up invul, and I whiffed on my damage roll. I rolled 2 2s and a 4, so not what I wanted. The Hunter Killer Missile missed. So unfortunately, that's that. I activated the Terraform with my Terminators, and my 2 Scout Squads are containing. And then I didn't do much here with the engaged unit with their bolt pistols. I did lose a frickin' intercessor over here like an idiot, overcharging trying to kill this thing. Which sucks because now I no longer control that objective. It's tied, which is it's okay. I got the Terminators here. They're controlling this one, but yeah, just very annoying there. However, Helbricht and friends shot everything they had at the Venom that was over here, and with bolt pistols galore, I plinked off enough wounds to kill it. So Lilith had to get out. And now we're moving on to the best phase in the game, the charge phase. All right, guys. So there was not a lot of charging to do, despite it being the favored phase. Helbricht over here charged into the Archon and the Ravager. The Raider. Of course, Helbricht rolled a 1 on his mortal wounds, so womp womp. But he did roll a crap load of lethals and sustained hits, and he just toasted the Archon with his sword. And then the Power Fist guys, including the Lieutenant with the Perdition's Edge Power Fist, and then the 4 regular Power Fist guys, took care of the Raider here. Bob was able to use a CP for Visaged Blades again to take care of my Assault Intercessor over here. And then my remaining Primaris Crusader squad here finished off those 2 weakened squads of Kabbalites. So that is the end of the fight phase and the end of my turn on round 3.
All right, so it is the end of my movement. So I drew Defend Stronghold and engage on all fronts. So you can see that my movement has aligned with that. So my home objective has been stickied by the Kabbalites. He dropped in everything on his board, so he might picky-uppy them, but at this point I don't care.
Yep.
So
there's suddenly a lot more Dark Eldar on the board. I don't like it. I don't like it. They're all over the place.
Well, yeah, they were hiding before. Now
there was a lot of hiding. Yep.
So what I did is I got my Kabbalites in the center here in position to shoot, so that they can whittle down those neophytes, and then Lilith will hopefully kill the rest of it so I can take that objective. Now, will they hold it? Probably not, but at least I'll take it. I moved my 3rd Incubi Venom to hide in the ruins so it can't be shot, because I might need that for a counter assault unit. I made sure that my Ravagers were in that corner for engaging on fronts, and as well as being able to shoot the Vindicator and the Terminators. The other Ravager that came in from Strategic Reserve that I was saving is going to be on this side of the board to, again, make sure that we're in the corners, even though I do have my Kronos that's sitting on the objective. But he's going to be emergency shots into the Scouts, which seem like it's going to be a waste, but well, we'll see. We had the Venom that moved up and then dropped the Incubi squad. This is my Warlord one. I basically had to get this in range of something this turn because it's only got the 2 wounds left and it's going to get clinked. I also moved the Mandrakes into that final corner, so I do have all 4 corners taken, so I'll get full points on that, as well as being in a position to claim one of the objectives with the Chronos so that I can score all of my points for secondaries. So moving into the shooting phase.
All right.
All right, so after the shooting phase has been completed, so not a lot of shooting was done, so I plinked off a couple guys on the infiltrator squad. I plinked a couple guys with my scouts because I misplayed my Ravager coming in a little bit. So he was just 0.7 inches off of the target that I wanted them to be on. So unfortunately, that was a misplay on my part. So I had to do my very last option and shoot them. Then I just poured in fire. My one Ravager used a pain token to get rerolls on the Vindicator and smoked it.
It was ridiculous. 2 shots, 2 hits killed the freaking Vindicator. Stupid.
It did hit with hit with 2 of them.
Yeah,
the third
and I failed 4-ups because he had cover. Failed both 4-ups, and then he rolled 10 damage on the dice plus 2 each on the thing. So it was stupid. Very irritated about losing the Vindicator.
Well, the Ravager shot at the Terminators and plinked off 2 as well. The final one.
Yep.
And then just incidental shooting from the remaining Cabalites into the squad here, just to whittle them down a little bit, so it makes the job a little bit easier. Like there was one wounded that was killed, and then
one more, I think. Yep.
So now it is a little bit easier for Lilith to handle.
To come in and whiff. She's gonna whiff again.
Let's hope not. All right, so we're gonna go into the next phase. Okay, so after the fight phase, as you can see, Lilith, I didn't think it was going to happen, but I did pain token her and pop her once per.
I don't know why you didn't think it was going to happen. She murdered those neophytes.
It was a game over, but they're only 1 damage, so I didn't think it was going to happen. But she did roll pretty well. So
I mean,
she did get 13 of, or I'm sorry, she had 11 hits, but I also got 2 sustains, so I brought it up to 15.
She's gross. I mean, they were saving on 6s, so.
So did a little bit of consolidating, make sure she was on it. She does have fight first, so if she charges into them, which it's going to be likely, she'll be able to fight. Over here on this side, where the infiltrators were, I charged with both of those Mandrakes and the Incubi, and they just evaporated. So now they're protected. They have that objective, and so now I own 1, 2, 3, 4.
A lot.
So
all right.
It is going to be the start of your next turn. As far as the secondaries go, I do have Defend Stronghold because I have Stickied Objective on mine, and I have Engage on all fronts for full points. So I got a total of 7 points.
Nice. All right, so movement is done. I've got my Crusader squad right here. They did Fervent Acclamation to give them a Feel No Pain because over here you can see the red of the Incubi lurking over here in the ruin. Just in case they come towards me, I want to have an Oath of Moment target. That's going to be them. And then I moved my Terminators over here. Try to potentially charge this and string out to stay on this objective. Worst case scenario is I fail the charge and I'm still on the objective. And then I moved my scouts back in because I drew engage on all fronts and assassinate. So I got my scouts right here for one engage, and my other scouts back over here for another engage. So yeah, so that is my movement phase. Let's do a bit of shooting, shall we? All right, everyone. So uh, we just finished the fight phase, and you're wondering, but Alex, what happened to the shooting phase? Yeah, what happened to the shooting phase? Well, I was, after my neophytes were murdered mercilessly by Lilith, I was very uncharacteristically terrified of her. So I was like, I want to kill her before I charge her, before she gets a chance to swing. So that means I got to rely on stuff like Helbrick's thing, shooting. I thought about using the grenade strat, and then I looked at all the guns that I have in this squad, and I thought, surely, between that and Helbrick's mortal wounds, I can kill her. Not only did I completely flub rolls on my shooting, Bob rolled sixes all over the place to save, and she only lost one wound to shooting, and then only two more to Helbrick's roll because I rolled a two. And then I rolled two mortal wounds on the D3. So, fortunately, her attacks at the start of the fight phase were not as bad as I had feared. I did manage to, use Armor of Contempt to help me out, and I only lost two guys and took a wound on a third. So, both her and then the squad then, of course, evaporated to Helbert and his bros. The chaplain's squad over here, you see, he's in a T for Terminator shape over here. I wanted to hold this objective, but also try to charge that Ravager. And I accomplished that and blew it up with some dev wounds. So that's the end of my turn 4. We're going to move into the bottom of turn 4, where it's Bob's turn.
All right, so I drew Extend Battle Lines and Cleanse for my secondaries. So one of them is a guaranteed for Cleanse because he doesn't have anything that can get to it. So that's a guaranteed 5 points. I lucked out on that one. And then I have Cleanse, which was a little bit more. Extend Battle Lines and then Cleanse.
Yep.
So Cleanse takes a little bit more effort. I did have my Mandrakes over there, so I can do that, but I have to position some other units. So I move my Ravager onto this, so it doesn't have any good targets anymore, so I'm just going to use that to cleanse. Move my Venom over there to kind of reinforce the objective in the weird situation that I'm not able to do much with them, or he comes back. Kronos moved up to try and kill these last little guys. I moved my Cabalites back onto my objective to try and shoot those guys off the board.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my movement. So we're going to see where our shooting goes. All right, so shooting phase. So mostly, as I mentioned, I cleansed to get those points. Then I shot basically everything that I had into a few different... So I had the Ravager shot into the Terminators, killed one Terminator.
Mm-hmm.
All these Cabalites that went home to defend their base shot at the scouts. They only took out one and wounded the other one. The Kronos, with all its shots, was only able to kill 2 of the 3. And everything else I had fired into the blob in the center, and I managed to kill 2. One of them was already wounded. So, despite having splinter cannons and numerous other shots, I was
You
not
did
able
flub
to
one of
do
them
much more
completely.
damage.
So
Yeah. So, let's move on to the charge phase, and we can get that stuff going.
all right.
All right. So, lots of things happened.
More mass carnage.
Yeah, so there's not much left on the board, as you can see. So I did make one charge over here into the scout, killed him.
Yep.
The other ones did not make it. The Kronos charged in, killed the last one over there.
Yep.
I dropped out, charged in with my Incubi led with my Warlord. So they did a lot of damage. I epic challenged, and I managed to kill the lieutenant before the Incubi swung. I considered going against Helberg, but I knew he was gonna save it, so I wanted to take out at least one character to prevent those lethals from going through. But he did manage to squeak out
I could
the
not make
Incubi,
saves.
and then he switched up and then made a million sustained hits.
Yeah, the neophytes
So
made up for all the previous bad rolls that I made recently, where like Helbert rolled 1-5 and like 4 1s. It was ridiculous. Helbert
yeah,
has
so
absolutely fallen on his face in this game, but the neophytes have absolutely come through with massive amounts of sustained hits.
so then you wounded with like 18,
Yeah,
and I the Clavex had one wound left from Helbert, and then I was able to uh, save two. And he died finally, so I had 16 wounds on my 2-up invul, and I failed the first
the
one.
first one,
the,
the
so
first
I
freaking
would have
one.
had a shot if I did not do that.
Yep.
So unfortunately, I did not make the charge. I rolled a 9 on my final Incubi squad to make it in. I needed a 10. So I didn't get that one in. I would have cleaned up that squad if
Oh
otherwise.
yeah,
But I
definitely.
did not want to risk the CP use on that one. And I was rather doing the epic charge. So at this point, he needs to stay in the center um, to have that. Otherwise, it's going to be a game. So now
Yep.
he's kind of stuck right now. He needs to stay on those 2 objectives. It's going to be a quick turn
Yep.
5.
Yep. Very quick turn 5 coming up. All right, guys. So here we are at the end of the game. Bob and I decided once I drew my secondaries, I realized that I wasn't going to score them. I drew the extend battle lines and storm hostile objective. There was actually another one that I spent the CP on to redraw and still got something. I got one of those too and just can't achieve them. I only got the 2 units left. I gotta stand on these objectives, so I can't do anything else. So I'm stuck at 75 points. Bob's just exactly what he controls right now. 3 objectives is enough to put him in front of me. We went ahead and drew his secondaries as well. He had sabotage and behind enemy lines, another 10 points for him, easy. So final score for this game is going to be Bob 86, Alex 75. The Templars take it on the chin in the first ever Implausible Nature battle royale. But overall, really fun game. I've never played a Horde Templar list with that many models before. There was like 88 models in this list. It was a lot of fun. Drukhari are definitely really mean. We both had some really crazy dice rolls here and there on both sides. Yeah, overall, a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to the next one. Bob, any thoughts on the game?
Yeah, so this is, and I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but this is not my tournament, or I'm sorry, I didn't tailor to beat Alex. So this is like what I would use in a tournament.
Yeah.
So it's a list that I've had for a while. I have an army that's mostly built that maybe eventually I'll play. But basically, I wanted to try it out because I hadn't ever played the 2,000 points with them. So takeaways with the Sky Splinter is they can do a massive amount of damage on the charge if you get it. But if you get taken out of the transports, which surprisingly Alex was doing a pretty good job of, I was probably a little bit more aggressive than I needed to be initially. That allowed him to take me out of like 3 of them right away. But once you get out, they can do some damage. But those 2 units were just crazy hard to kill. As you can see,
Yeah.
I didn't even kill the second one.
Yeah.
And I didn't even barely touch that Terminator squad. Now, the only thing that saved me is that I was I had enough units
You got a
MSU
lot
to
more
screen
units.
them out.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was,
So
I think, the big downfall for this list versus yours. They're almost very rock, paper, scissors, type of lists to each other. I did not have as many units as I would have liked um, in order to counteract the many units that Bob had. The other problem is my Terminators didn't come in until turn 3, so they spent that whole turn basically just doing an action on objective. So they really weren't part of this game as much as they probably should have been. And Bob did a fantastic job of screening me out with his fast-moving units. I'm not sure if I would walk them next time on the board. They're definitely a little slow. Overall, the Terminators did not do what I needed them to do, which was get in the thick of things, and they held down that objective over there, which was fine. But by the time they came in, I was starting to run out of units, and that was a problem. So. Like I said, Bob just did a great job screening me out. I didn't really have anywhere to go. So I didn't bring them in turn 2 because there was nothing advantageous for me to do so. Maybe I could have brought them in a little further back, but then I might as well have walked them at that point. So overall, definitely a tough list to face against. Was I think an MSU Templar list with a lot more smaller units would do better against this versus the big blobs, but the big Crusader blobs were a lot of fun. They definitely tanked a ton more damage than I was expecting them to against this list.
yeah, and I won't lie, when it was getting towards mid game, turn 3, when I saw what I had left versus what you had left, I was really worried.
It
Because
was
you were
it
still
was
up,
close,
up
really,
on
all the way up
points.
until the end, and I actually was leading most of the game. So it
Yep.
was definitely a very close game. It just kind of came down to at the end, I ran out of units faster than he did. It's sort of really what
Yeah.
happened. And losing the first Crusader squad on the center objective to Lilith is what really hurt me the most, because it forced me to bring Helbrecht into the center and not go over here. I had to choose. I couldn't get to both. And so I chose to go to the more dangerous enemy rather than let her just run around the board. Um,
And
so
you had assassinate too, so
yeah, yeah, I had assassinate too, so I wanted to make sure I scored that. So yeah, it was just sort of a circumstance. Had that first Crusader squad lived with a couple of guys, I might have been able to kill her and stand on that objective a little bit longer. But as it stands, it just wasn't. I ran out of units. Simple as that. So guys, hope you enjoyed our game. Hopefully this bat rep style is great for you. Let us know what you think of this bat rep style. We're trying to keep it short and concise for you. We want to make sure that these are, number one, things that we can do with a reasonable time frame, and it also saves us a lot of time in editing. Let us know how you like this format. Any changes or suggestions you guys would like to do, please let us know. If you have any suggestions on what kind of battle you want to see next, I've got Necrons. Bob can play Templars. We've got some other options that we could do that would be fun. Just let us know what your
Leagues of
thoughts are.
Votann.
Yeah, Leagues of Votann. There's a bunch of cool armies out there that, with Tabletop Simulator, anything's possible.
Yeah, and keep in mind, for those that don't know, Alex and I live
Very far apart.
2,000 miles away from each other, so we
This
can't
is
just play on
yeah.
a
This
board.
we can't just show up and meet up. That will happen at some point, but we're too far apart to get regular games. So this is going to be the best way we're going to be able to do that. So and still bring content to you guys and brat reps, which is something that I know you guys have been asking a lot for. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit all the YouTube buttons. Check out our Patreon. We got a lot of great stuff. Great benefits in there, and check out our Discord as well. Until next time, keep on crusading.